express their sympathy and condolences for my mom, especially Pete had some really great words, and John Harbaugh, many others that I know, friends, football people, and honestly many people that I've never met or contacted before. So do really appreciate the support there. As an only child, everybody's close with their, has a certain relationship with their mom and dad, but as an only child, I was especially close to my parents, and my mom and I spent a lot of time together, and she was a great woman, and I certainly learned pretty much everything from my parents, and then with her love that she gave to her grandkids, to Amanda, Steve, and Brian was ultra special to me as well. So I appreciate everyone's thoughts and condolences that have been expressed. And so she had almost 99 years, so a very long and happy life. And so she will be with my dad now. Just as far as moving on to Seattle here, didn't talk about them, didn't get a chance to talk about them yesterday, but obviously a great football program with the Seahawks. John Schneider and Pete Carroll, have done a tremendous job there. They've been able to sustain it, success just year after year with double-digit wins and competitive games, and just when you look at the consistency that they've had out there, it's really very, very impressive. They've turned over quite a bit of their team and their personnel from when we saw them in 2014, even 2016, especially defensively. But they continue to be impressive in every area, as they were last week, on the road in Atlanta. So that was a very strong performance. Pete's obviously a guy that's believes in what he does, and as he should, and he's had tremendous success with it. I really admire the consistency that Pete's shown throughout the course of his career. But I really admire what he did at SC, and then I brought that to Seattle. Also want to wish Pete a belated happy birthday. Glad to see that he's just staying a little bit ahead of me there. So I don't have the distinction of being the oldest coach in the league. But anyway, and always happy to see another fellow Croatian do well, just not against us, like Coach Saban. So, but Pete's done a tremendous job out there, and his philosophy is evident every time you turn on the film. The energy, the passion, the toughness, the consistency, the mental toughness that the team has is very, very impressive. And you look at the guys that really are, to me, the big three out there. It's Pete, it's Wilson, and Wagner. Those three guys, you can't really find a game or a play where I think that they don't epitomize what everything that the Seahawks stand for and the success that they've had. I think the team really runs through those three guys as it should, and their consistency and mental toughness and passion for the game is just really, really impressive. So we know how tough it's going to be out there. It's always tough against those guys. Doesn't matter where it is. It could be in a parking lot or wherever the game is. It's just they compete extremely hard on every down, from snap to whistle for 60 minutes. And I just have a ton of respect for the Seahawks, for Pete, Russell Wilson, and the entire program out there. And we know we're going to have to be at our best on Sunday, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to improve from last week and try to get the best football that we can play out there on Sunday night. So looking forward to the opportunity and the competition. We got a couple more days here to try to zero in on these guys, but it'll be a big challenge for us. But we're looking forward to it.
Thank you, Coach. We'll open up with questions. We'll start with Mike Reese, followed by Matt Cerullo.
Bill, echoing everyone's thoughts on condolences, and hope you're doing okay and the family.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Russell Wilson, you just touched on him a little bit. In what way does his skill set stress a defense?
Well, yeah, everything. I mean, this guy's a tremendous player. Honestly, I think he's, in a way, maybe underrated by the media or the fans. I don't know, but I mean, I don't really see anybody better than this player. He can do everything. He's got obviously great leadership, playmaking skills. He plays very well in the most critical situations in the game with his decision making, running, passing. His passing numbers are extraordinary. You put him up against anybody since he's been in the league, literally anybody, in almost any category, or in any category really. His winning percentage is impressive. He's there for every game, never missed a game. He's got a great ability to do the right thing at the right time. He has tremendous vision and sees the field extremely well. I don't think there's a better deep ball passer in the league in terms of decision making and accuracy. He attacks literally every inch of the field you have to defend with him. The deep balls, the sidelines, his scrambles, his ability to get the ball to his playmakers and in space, and then you have to try to tackle him, which that's very difficult too. Lockett has led the league in all-purpose yards. Russ has got 4,000 yards rushing, 30,000 yards passing. Lockett's been a go-to guy for him in all phases of the game, return game and offensively. Metcalf. Now they got Olsen. Carson's probably runs as hard as anybody in the league. So I mean, there are a lot of weapons there, and I could go on and on. Offensive line, Brown. I mean, they got they have a lot of good players that are hard to handle when you put them all together, and it's orchestrated by Wilson. It's they're very, very hard to defend.
Next question, Max Cerullo, followed by Eden Kern.
Good morning, Bill.
Max?
Hey, so wanted to ask you about the ongoing situation in Seattle with the wildfires. And I was curious if you have any concerns about the effect the air quality could have on your players and potentially on the game itself.
Yeah, we're aware of it. Looked into it a little bit. I think the forecast that I've seen, tracked them over the last couple of days, look really pretty promising. That there's some wind currents coming in from the Pacific. Not that I know anything about wind currents or meteorology or anything here, but this is other people telling me that that the air's gonna that's gonna help, and certainly by the end of the week, sounds like as early as Friday, things could start to clear up a little bit. So, I'd say from our standpoint, really, we're going to control the things that we can control. And, we've talked about, possibly some things that we might be able to do a little bit differently if necessary. Right now, I don't really think that it appears that'll be necessary, but we'll monitor the situation and see. So, yeah, thanks for asking about that. But we're, I'd say right now it's tracking to where we don't anticipate a major problem, but, we'll be prepared if things change.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Next question, Aiden Kirk, followed by Bob Sosi.
Hi, Bill. My condolences to you and your mother.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I wanted to ask about pre-snap motion. Something that your teams, teams across the league are beginning to use a lot more, and your team has really been ahead of that trend. Can you just discuss, what the benefits of pre-snap motion are and how it helps your offense get desirable matchups, especially in the running game?
Yeah, well, the advantages of, I think anytime you put a guy in motion, you want to try to gain an advantage. And anytime you don't put guys in motion, then you gain certain advantages there too. So, and you can only move one guy. obviously. So it's really just a question of what you're trying to gain. If you're trying to gain an advantage in your alignment to crack block or block a secondary support player, or whether you're trying to gain an advantage to run a route or get a player on the move so that he can get to an area faster than if he was stationary. Various things like that. And it could also be for some level of deception or forcing a defensive adjustment. The downside of motion is, you start to, declare something about your formation, and that eliminates certain things. By putting a player in motion, it eliminates certain things or makes it more difficult to happen than if he's stationary. And, you don't know exactly how the defense is going to react every time. Sometimes you can predict it, and if you get that, then that helps you. But if they do something different, if a team has more than one way to adjust to it, then sometimes that can be a little, can cause a later communication on the play. So I think there are times when you want to be in a stationary formation, and it's easier for the quarterback to see what's going on in the passing game and the running game for that matter, and kind of force the defense to declare. And there are other situations where you can possibly gain an advantage with some movement, depending on which player you're putting in motion, but either gain some advantages on the play or gain some advantages in terms of knowing not maybe even what they're going to do, but maybe you can eliminate some things that they're not going to do, and either improve your run force, your run outside running game in a run force, block a force player, or gain some type of advantage in the passing game. And certainly there's been a lot of success with people using both. So there's definitely a place for them, and it really just comes down to how you feel about your game plan, your matchup, and kind of what your general philosophy is on that. I know when I was with the Colts, my first year with Coach Marchabroda, he really didn't like to put people in motion very often, maybe to run a crack play or something like that, but we hardly ever did that. And then that extended to when he went to Buffalo and later to Indianapolis with the K-gun and the no-huddle offense, that he wanted players to be stationary so that the quarterback could read the defense, and then the defense, by even just the slightest movement, would start to tip the type of coverage that they were in, because the offense was basically in the same formation every time. And obviously, when Manning was with the Colts, they did that as well. There was almost no motion in that offense, so it was, it put a different kind of pressure on you, because the slightest and subtlest change by any defensive player's alignment would be identified, and could tip off what the defense was doing. So it's like I said, there's a place for both in there, and I think whatever you do, whether you do it motion and don't do it, it just comes down to trying to gain an advantage, and whether that's worth offsetting what you feel like you might be giving up by doing one or the other.
Cool. Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, that's a great question. Sorry for the long answer.
No worries.
Next question, Bob Socci, followed by Zach Kahn.
Hi, thanks, Stacy. Good morning, Bill. Echoing
Bob.
others, my condolences to you and your family.
Thanks, Bob.
I want to ask you about Jamal Adams. Certainly the Seahawks liked a lot about him. They gave a couple of first-round picks, and you know him from the Jets. Very aggressive on Sunday against the Falcons. How does Pete utilize a player like him, having coached Apollo at USC and, of course, Earl Thomas? Not to say they're the same player, but that piece in his defense.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting to see. What they did. I'd say they ran, certainly more safety blitzes than maybe more in that game than I'd seen the previous year. Hasn't really been a big part of Coach Carroll's defense, but he did it in a way that it was consistent with the philosophy of what they do defensively. So it was a change, and a significant one, with how disruptive Adams was on those blitzes. And it's always hard to tell with a player like Adams which ones are called and what's him just reacting to something and coming very aggressively, but especially on running plays. But in any case, I think that they modified their system a little bit to take advantage of a very explosive and disruptive player, which is really just smart coaching and a good utilization of personnel. I know Pete's philosophy, is always to play into his strengths, and he does a great job of that. And clearly, Jamal Adams is one of their strengths. So they did something a little bit differently with him than what they've done in the past in terms of inserting him into the pressure part of their defense. But I'd say within the overall context of what they have done fundamentally for quite a long time. So no, it's not like they're redesigning everything, but they're using one of their outstanding players in a very good way, and that causes problems for the offense. So that's that's kind of what that's what I saw last week. We'll see how it goes this week, but that's what it appeared to be last week against Atlanta.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
And we'll take one final question. Sorry to those who I don't get to, but Phil Perry, you'll have the last question.
Thanks, Stacy, and thanks for doing this today, Bill.
Sure.
Hope you're doing okay. Condolences to you and your family. And thanks for sharing your thoughts on your mom early in the call. I wanted to ask you about her because we have heard over the years from coaches about how families have to make sacrifices when they're part of a football family. And so wanted to ask you how important her support was for both you and your dad, given the profession that you both were in.
Yeah. No, thanks, Phil. Yeah, well, she was a very unselfish person and sacrificed a lot, for her family. And so, of course, me personally, and I appreciate, and love her for that and many other things. But, yeah, my dad was away a lot on scouting trips, and so I always kind of grew up with her on the weekends, on football weekends. At home, and so we watched hundreds of games together, whether it was Navy games or listened to them on the radio or watched other games that were on TV and so forth when my dad was away on Friday night, Saturday, and sometimes Sunday morning, depending on how far he had to travel for the games that he was scouting. So football season for me was, as a kid, was my dad getting home late during the week, and my mom on the weekends for to watch football games. And so that was we became very close and shared those experiences together. And then the only time really that I saw my dad was during the kind of end of the game week was the Army Navy game. And then like I said, when he got home later at night, when I was older, I was able to stay up and see him. And if I stayed out of trouble, I might get to do something with him later at night. But I just didn't want to act badly for my mom and have her turn me in, which she didn't do very often. So even though I was deserving of it, but so yeah, we had a very close relationship there. My mom was really kind of an academic person. She was very good in college, and then after college, she worked for the map service during World War II and translated European maps because she, spoke 7 languages. Well, 6 at that time. She didn't know Croatian, but so she, was involved in the translation of maps during the war effort, and then came back and taught languages at Hiram after the war. It started in 1945. So. Unfortunately, those language skills didn't rub off on her son, and one language is really about all I have. But she encouraged me to, not to do the things that I wanted to do. She was very supportive of those. I wish I could have been better in the field that she was very good at, and I tried that for a while, but I just didn't have it. In all honesty, so. I just un peu of French, and that's about it.
Thank you very much, Coach.
Thanks again, Bill.
Everyone.
Yep, thank you. Yeah, appreciate it, and we'll see you out in Seattle.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks.
Thanks, Stacy.
Thanks, Bill.
with the signature pumpkin spice iced latte or pumpkin iced coffee. Pumpkin is back at Dunkin'. Enjoy contactless ordering on the Dunkin' app. America runs on Dunkin'.
What's my retirement savings plan? Oil, baby. Oil. Sprinkler pipe. Diane!
Ready or not.
Gillette ProGlide and ProGlide Gel. 5 blades and a pivoting flex ball designed to get virtually every hair on the first stroke while washing away dirt and oil. So you're ready for the day with a clean shave and a clean face.
For over 60 years, this team has transformed itself into a championship organization. For over 160 years, our team has demonstrated a similar mentality. There are no days off. Our front lines are fortified by people who sacrifice individuality for the team. Our shelves are also stocked with the best quality products and ingredients. Our team members know their roles. We're proud to do our jobs. Shaw's, the official supermarket of the 6-time champion New England Patriots.
My Caleb Sofa and Love Seat. With Bob's discount, you get both pieces for just $7.99.
$7.99? Are you joking?
Do I look like I'm joking?
Yes. You look like you're joking.
I'm serious.
Cool.
Get Bob's discount! There's nothing better than fall together with the signature pumpkin spice iced latte or pumpkin iced coffee. Pumpkin is back at Dunkin'. Enjoy contactless ordering on the Dunkin' app. America runs on Dunkin'.
What's my retirement savings plan? Oil, baby. Oil.